Hello and welcome to Fresh Race One Shots. My name is Joey.
And I'm Jacob.
And we are back today, finally, at long last, with Batman the Brave and the Bold number 11. Sorry guys, life happened.
I was on vacation. And
but hey, if it helps, I guess technically you won't have to wait as long for the number 12 video.
Yes, we promise number 12 will be released on time.
Yes. But we're here. We both read this, I think, like the day it came out. So
yeah,
a little bit.
And
if we completely fall flat on our faces talking about this issue, that's why.
Well, I mean, I think it helps that this actually had some very solid stories. I believe I felt myself enjoying most of them. The Artemis one, I don't want to say I didn't enjoy. I just didn't feel as much of a connection to that one. The other one I'm talking. I mean not the Artemis one, the Private Stein one.
Oh, with Sergeant Rock.
Yeah, I don't know that character, and I am a little an interesting little war story, I guess. But that's about it.
Before we actually get into this, I do want to say just a quick shout out. I don't know if you're watching this at all, but Matt, we had the lovely Matt Harding reach out to us about our last video, who wrote Nameless last time.
Yes.
Fantastic single story. Matt, just a fantastic story. I don't know if you're watching this at all, but I just want to say thanks. And
if you are,
and also he messaged me afterward and said that he watched the video and it was really cool. So thanks for checking out the review. Thanks for writing a great story. It was really good. So also thanks to the person that was recommending Gotham Academy stuff to us.
Yes.
I haven't gotten a chance to read more since, but I will. I swear it'll happen.
And Joey, if it's good enough, he'll probably add it to the main podcast at some point.
It's very possible. Very possible. It seems Gotham Academy just has a really dedicated fan base, and I really appreciate it.
I mean, Maps is a great character. Just like this story, like I know Batman and Robin is doing like Damian at School stuff, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not reading Batman and the only ongoings I'm reading, dear viewer, is you're
tell us what you're reading, Jacob.
You're seeing them because listen. I read a lot of stuff that's also
but with more on the way.
More on the way.
We'll talk about that later. Anyway, we have another 5 stories to cover here.
Yeah, well, I mean, So Mother's Day Part 2.
We've got
Carl Kerschel is still writing and drawing, and Norm Rampant is inking some of it. It's an interesting.
You don't quite say who the other inker is, though.
It might just be Kerschel.
Yeah,
I could imagine what happened is Kerschel got all his pencils done, got his inks done, and maybe fell a little behind. But I think I don't remember. I think Rampant might have also been credited on inks for the last issue. So I don't know. Weird. But yeah. This one. Maps is still chasing after Tristan.
Still a man bat.
Still a man bat. Well, calling into Bray inopportune time.
He's having a moment as he has to leave his date for the evening, and
I bring up comics as soap operas.
This is some
peak,
Stan Lee shit right here.
This is peak soap opera.
So Bruce has to leave, become Batman, and join up with Maps. Once again, love Maps' Robin costume. It's so good. But then Bruce and Maps go after Tristan still, who has joined up with other such transformed man-bats, going towards a cathedral, I believe. Yeah, okay, yep. I'm trying to remember the story as I'm going through.
It is the Cathedral of St. Augustine's. And it is kind of fascinating because there are a lot of man-bats, and first off, Bruce is responsible at this point and tells Maps it makes Maps stay behind because Maps is not combat trained.
Nope.
And I find it fascinating that Maps actually listens at this point. But
See, and that's why Maps is not Robin material. They don't listen.
this is true. This is true.
Or sorry, they do listen, I should say.
Yeah.
Other way around. Anyway, but hunting down some of these man bats, then the one escapes. Who I don't think we don't know who they are yet.
We don't know who they are, and there's discussion of how many there are. And it's crazy. And then so we get the next day, and here's where things start to go interesting. So the woman that Bruce saved from being fed on last night by the vampire man bats because vampire man bat
turns out was not entirely saved because she's definitely she's a vampire. This is a vampire story now.
Yeah, this is turning into a vampire story, and Bruce probably tired goes in to the salon, doesn't notice that the windows are doesn't notice the windows are all blacked out in the daytime, and the vibe, certainly a vibe. There is there's some interesting references, and he's like, I'll get you a drink, whatever.
I love the imagery. I love the imagery as Bruce starts to get fed on pretty much. Everything gets sort of blurry, and the vampires appear more bat-like around him, and he's then taken up the stairs by two man bats, and he's taken to this
mother who is a
serpentine figure thing,
who's a naga.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
This is where we're getting the
weird,
mother commentary, because the story's called Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And it's this
and
whole...
also, if this is a 3-part story, it's ending in the month of Mother's Day, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. But also, I kind of want it to be more parts than 3 because I'm really enjoying this. It's really good.
I mean,
but I understand. So Bruce then seemingly escapes by jumping out of a window.
Gets into a cab, demands to go to Gotham Academy.
He goes to see Kirk Langstrom, who attempts to help, but Bruce is already changing. His eyes begin to glow red, and he punches Kirk, and he jumps out of the window and goes back to his date. And look, I had not read this story yet when you messaged me that Batman and Brave and the Bold number 11 had sexy vampire Bruce Wayne.
I believe I said sexy bisexual panic vampire Bruce Wayne.
That might have been the exact wording. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but that's the cliffhanger.
Listen. Look. There are people. They know what they're doing here. They know exactly what they're doing. We end on the line. Well, aren't you going to invite me in?
Beautiful.
Can this be a 4-parter so we just have an entire issue of vampire Bruce Wayne flirting?
Yeah, I'd be down for that. But anyway, on to our second story today. Bit of a weird sidestep. We've got The Sweet Science by Christos Gage. He's writing it. Danny Kim on art. It's a Western, and it's about a kid named Bat who is apparently an old character. I was doing a little bit of looking into it.
Oh, good, because I didn't do any research.
I did a little bit of the bare minimum of research. He's apparently an old character, and appealing to a very niche audience.
It's a Western brawl story, right?
Yeah.
That turns into a boxing match. I had a lot of fun with it. I don't know.
I didn't entirely vibe with it. It was fine. I had a good time with it, but it was okay, I guess.
There was a certain track that was undergoing in my brain, but I won't share what that is because it is utterly cringe.
I'm really curious what it is now.
Oh, it's from a British Western episode of a science fiction show.
Understandable. Yes, makes sense. Yeah, but it's a western. They wrestle. Look. It didn't do much for me. It was fine, I guess. If you're into Bat, I guess he has a full name.
It was fun time. I think I know you've used the line, "Do you just hate fun?" But I think
no. See, I didn't say I didn't have fun with it. It wasn't entirely to my taste. Is all.
I think the characters are pretty well characterized. At least in terms of who they are. I don't know like backstory and things. But I think there's potential here. It's a nice little western.
It's okay.
It's got some nice slapstick. I wonder if this was also maybe a late edition with the delaying of the Lois Lane story.
Very possible. Which I'm very sad to not see back this issue, but I'm hoping we'll be back with this issue 12.
In 12.
That would be nice.
This book seems to have the problem.
It just loves playing with our emotions. Is all. It delays all the best stories. So if that's anything to go by, I think we have a lot to look forward to with Lois Lane. The game, was it? I think I can't remember the name now. Anyway,
called The Game. Yeah, I believe it was called The Game.
Looking
up the
the
solicits real quick. It does seem that will be back this month.
Hurrah.
Technically, well as I'm wondering if there needed to be more pages too, because looking at it, it looks like it's just going to be we're going to be back down to 4 stories next month.
Which I don't mind. Honestly, the 5 stories is well appreciated. Is a little overwhelming, I think, for a anthology.
It's tricky. It's tricky.
Sure, it depends on how much you have. It depends on how much you have to offer with your short stories.
Last month did it really well.
This one did not hit quite as hard, but I did still really enjoy. Great transition. Artemis: The Poison Within, Part 2.
Yeah, because this one is this is all just reflecting on Artemis's character. More of what Part 1 did, and also gets a little trippier because there's a talking horse. Horse who turns into a hippocampus.
Yep, and you can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah.
As well as talking snakes. We love the talking snakes.
Some interesting comments on sort of the contradictions of comic characters almost. In some that are in play here that are very fun. Some very fun layouts too.
I love the borders around a lot of the panels. And speaking of the panels, I guess, and just like the art by Serge Acuna, fantastic artwork. Oh my god, I adore it. There's some really nice, just soft lines in there, and colors by Matt Herms. Just some really, really great stuff in there. It's a really great little character piece, and I think it'll just round itself out nicely. It'll be one of the more really satisfying Brave New World stories we've had.
I'm wondering if we're tying into Tom King's current run in next time, possibly. Maybe not.
That would be appreciated.
Because I'm not entirely sure where this one's going.
Hey, we still have no clue what that whole Stormwatch story was doing.
That's true. That's
what
true.
What it was leading towards. So sometimes things just exist, I suppose.
I mean, at least this one has another issue to conclude, and I think it's gonna conclude fairly well based on the trajectory. There's a clear 3-act structure in play here. The next one for me was The Weak Link.
We have Private Stein here by Michael W. Conrad, which is really dark. It's dark, yes. About another really old character, Sergeant Rock, who most recently made an appearance in a DC Comics miniseries written by Bruce Campbell.
Wait, what?
Where Sergeant Rock fought the Army of Darkness.
Okay.
Yeah. That is the only reason I'm aware of who this character is, to be honest, because I'm an Evil Dead fan, and I saw that, I was like, I should read that someday, and I still haven't, but it's...
I mean, okay, this little story, it's playing on the myth of, ghost super soldiers. We have a soldier being tortured, and he, we talk stories about this sergeant that appeared and disappeared, and suddenly, the tide of battle would turn because of this one man who would just appear and disappear.
Mm-hmm.
It's a whole thing. Maybe it's an army story, so
yeah, it's very much like you can tell even reading a story today exactly where Sergeant Rock as a character came from. It was old war comics, war propaganda comics, exactly where this guy was born out of, and really has not evolved as a character much, to be honest, it seems.
Yeah, I'm not. I feel like, I can't tell if the story's like trying to be an anti-war message or it's just trying to be an army story. I can't tell. It's kind of straddling the line a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we've read by Michael W. Conrad before, with Wonder Woman, which is cool. And we know he's a good writer. I'm just not sure, to be honest, what entirely what he was trying to go for with this.
It's also, again, it's part of what also makes me this short story format, because it's quite short. It's only about 8-9 pages, I think.
Yeah. Usually the stories towards the end of this anthology take smaller page lengths.
So there isn't a whole lot. It's a one and done. It feels like it might be just here to finish filling the issue.
Yeah. And so between this and Sweet Science, I think just overall the issue kind of lost me in certain places, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I did like the black and white story though.
Yeah, that was a black and white story.
12 Tales, got by Zach Thompson, with some gorgeous art by Ashley Wood. Oh my god, the artwork is really just perfect to me. I love this. It's this perfect little scratchy style that I really dig.
It feels like it was scratched by rats, which is the vibe it's going for.
Yeah, very much.
And again, I love that these black and white stories really can do it. It's create, the sky's the limit in terms of creativity, because you got 8 pages to fill. You fill it with something Batman. I
would love to just have just a trade on its own someday of just all the black and white stories from this Brave and the Bold run.
I imagine they'll do that.
They're all so fucking good.
They did collect the winning card in trade.
That's true. And it does unfortunately seem maybe like they're only going to make trades of certain things that do well. Unless they're going to collect it all someday, and in whatever these stories eventually lead into, with hopefully whatever Stormwatch is up to, whatever Aquaman maybe is leading into. I don't know. I would like to see what they're going to do with it in the future, and I'm not quite sure what they're trying to do with the anthology format when it comes to collecting it. But we do have a winning card trade. So if you want to read Winning Card, which is probably still the best multi-part story that this run has done so far. That's out there, and it's a great run. It's a great story. Anyway, I think that about does it. If you like what you saw here, check out other Fresh Face one-shots we do. We've been reading Wonder Woman by Tom King and Superman by Joshua Williamson, which is currently in the middle of a big crossover event with Action Comics and has some tie-ins to Green Lantern and Power Girl. Well, we're not covering the tie-ins, but Action Comics and Superman, we have 3 straight months of House of Brainiac. It's really, really cool. Loved the first issue, so the video for that's already out. You can check that out.
Yes.
Wonder Woman comes out later this month, and obviously we'll have another Brave and the Bold later this month as well. Also, be sure to check out the main podcast, Fresh Face Comics.
Speaking of Wonder Woman, we just did Wonder Woman by George Perez, Volume 4, and had some very interesting discussions there.
With Volume 5 coming out very, very soon, a little over a week. Check that out. Volume 5 is going to be certainly an interesting discussion, because I know you started it, and the first issue alone. So be sure to check that out, and also check out our socials. Our link trees will be in the description below. You can check those out there, and otherwise, I think that about does it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, this has been Joey Morgan
and Jacob Licklider.
Goodbye.